You know that feeling? The day is done, the world finally goes quiet, and then, just as you're trying to drift off, your mind decides to turn on the floodlights. It's like your brain starts its own night shift, and you're the only employee. Let's get into why that happens. It's a question so many of us have asked ourselves in the dark. You are exhausted, you're ready for sleep, but your brain just won't shut off. It almost feels like it's working against you, right? Well, there's actually a reason for that, and we're going to unpack it. So, first things first, think about your day. The constant chatter, the emails dinging, the never-ending notifications, all that external noise. At night, it just stops. And that right there is the key. See, during the day, our brains are in go mode. We're juggling tasks, having conversations, just reacting to everything being thrown at us. Our attention is constantly being pulled outward. But once all those distractions are stripped away, your mind suddenly has all this space. And it uses that space to finally start processing everything it's been holding on to, all the stuff you were too busy to deal with all day. So what's really going on in your head? Well, your brain is essentially switching jobs. It's clocking out of its chaotic day job and clocking into its night job, which is all about deep reflection. And this right here really gets to the heart of it. During the day, we're focused outward, and our rational, logical brain is running the show. But at night, our focus turns inward. And as we get tired, our logical defenses get weaker, and our emotional brain kind of takes the driver's seat. And that's when the floodgates can open. Suddenly, all those unfinished to-do lists, those conversations you keep replaying, the little worries you manage to push down during the day, they all come rushing into that quiet space in your mind. Now, this is where things can get a little tricky, because this process can quickly trap us in what's called a thought loop. So let's look at how one tiny little thought can snowball into something huge. It almost always starts with something small, doesn't it? Something that seems pretty harmless. You're just replaying a tiny moment from your day. But remember who's in charge now, your emotional brain. So that small, simple question can suddenly morph into a deep, personal question about who you are and what you're worth. And boom, before you know it, you're at the very peak of the anxiety spiral. That one little thought has exploded into this massive, catastrophic worry about the future, where you're imagining every worst-case scenario. This is the definition of overthinking. And here's the sneakiest part. It feels productive. It feels like you're actually problem-solving, but you're not. You're just stuck on a mental hamster wheel, running over the same problem again and again without ever getting any closer to a solution. But here's a really important thing to remember. Your mind isn't doing this to be mean. It's not your enemy. This is actually an old survival mechanism. It's your brain trying to protect you by scanning for threats and learning from mistakes. It just goes into overdrive in our modern world. Okay, so how do we actually stop this cycle? The answer isn't to fight your thoughts. Trust me, that just gives them more power. The real key is to gently and patiently guide your mind toward a state of rest. And there are some really practical ways to do that. So here are 4 steps that can make a huge difference. First, get it out of your head. Seriously, just writing your worries down on a piece of paper can signal to your brain that they're stored safely so it can let them go. Second, set the mood. Dim the lights, put the phone away. You have to tell your brain visually that it's time to power down. Third, just breathe. Slow, deep breaths are like a direct message to your nervous system saying, hey, we're safe, you can relax. And finally, and this one is maybe the most important, give yourself permission for it to wait. Not every problem needs to be solved at 2 in the morning. When you start doing these things, it all leads to this really fundamental shift in how you see the night. It's about realizing your mind isn't the bad guy here. It's about making peace with the quiet. So if you only take one thing away from this, please let it be this. Overthinking at night doesn't mean something is wrong with you. It just means your brain has been working overtime, trying its best to protect you, even when you're just trying to get some sleep. Once you really understand why this is happening, you can stop fighting against your own mind and start working with it. And the night can go from being something you dread to a time of actual, peaceful rest. So the only question left is, how will you make peace with your mind tonight?